Atlanta second race. Awesome. Pretty good. Pretty great. Pretty awesome. Um Probably the best all year. I was just trying to think about it. I enjoyed Coca-Cola 600 or the World 600 was pretty good, but this is probably the best race all year. A lot of people are saying like best ever. Probably the best next gen super speedway track. People have been calling them drafting tracks. You're new. They're called, and forever should be called, plate tracks because they're restrictor plate. That has been what they've been called forever since the restrictor plate's been put in. Just because we don't have restrictor plates anymore does not make them restrictor plate races. That is still what they're called. No ifs, ands, buts, nothing. That is the name. Just like Echo Park is not the name. Everyone's still going to call that Atlanta Motor Speedway. It is not Echo Park. No amount of money will stop us from calling it that. It was very good. A little overhyped by some folks. Not everyone, but some people. Besides the first flag and the rain, after the rain stopped, it was full steam ahead. And even, you could tell it was pretty hard handling tonight. Or, not tonight. The night, I'm doing this a couple of days later. I was on vacation, actually, in Arkansas when I watched it. But, Bell, I think, was the first one to really spin out kind of on himself, by himself. And he was the prelude to the big one. And it was easily probably one of the biggest big ones we've seen. Definitely in Atlanta, probably in a few years. And it took out everybody. A lot of people stayed in the cars for a little bit, seeing if they can get them repaired. But no, I don't think most did. Some of them did, but like Denny Hamlin and a few other people jumped out the car like 3 wrecks later and a stage later. So they tried for a long time but could never get it. But and even after the biggest caution, the big one, people didn't slow down. It was still full head of steam, and what was almost an additive of the big one was that it gave them space in the field to really stretch out. They weren't getting too bunched up like maybe before and wrecking. And especially the leader, Brad Keselowski, earlier on did a really good job, but almost every leader was getting passed. Anyone that had a run and got a push at the right time, they got a run. It was almost pretty inevitable. If they were patient enough too, they were gonna get by you. And that's ultimately what happened at the end. Spoiler alert. Chase Elliott played it perfect. He waited for the right time, got Bowman, his teammate, to push him, gave him a great push, and he was patient enough to wait till turn 1 and 2 to make his move, because that was the easiest corner to make moves all night. And he got the run, and when they got in the corner, he went down low, and it was nothing Brad could do. Literally nothing. And once Elliott had it, Bowman wasn't going to push him to the lead. If it was someone else, I'd say it's almost a coin flip on who would win. It would probably be in a 3 and 4 or at the line. But it would have been a closer race if it wasn't Bowman. But Elliott still put on a great pass at the end, final lap. And it was a great win for him to kind of hush the whole Chase Elliott is kind of broken talk. He still is winning, at least at this point, for the last 2 years once and a year. That's about what Bowman's done at least, and he's the most popular driver. His spot is one of the most secured seats in all of NASCAR. Let me just put it that way. I like Brad Keselowski to turn it around. I'm glad I'm recording this a few days later, because especially at the beginning I was a little bit a little bit upset. I was so close to finally picking my first, not finally, it's only been a couple episodes, but first picking my first driver. And Brad Keselowski, he might have had the best car all day. At RFK, definitely had some of the best cars. And, well, first, we didn't get to see a lot of them, to be honest. But RFK definitely had some of the best cars. It seemed like all of Ford pretty much had decent cars. Toyota, we didn't really get a fair share to look at them. But Chevy was definitely beat by the Fords. It was funny when Toy Gibbs was like, "Are any of my teammates left?" And he skips JGR and goes, "Oh yeah, there's a few Toyotas. We got," I think he said the 23 or 45 at the time, and that's when you know you're pretty much. I think he just said 10-4, and they laughed because that's all you can really do in that position. You know you have no teammate. You're basically Brad Keselowski at the end. If you have no one that will push you to beat someone on even their manufacturer, same side. So, maybe there were some more cars that were better later on, and we just never really got to see them. But from everything we saw, Keselowski and definitely Buescher, they showed what their cars had the most. Keselowski, I think he led the most laps. He probably, when he led him, had the most boring part of the race because there was less overtakes. But it's commendable that in a race where no one could seem to hold the lead, he was able to for 50-plus laps. So I'd give my hats off, and he seems to be turning in the right direction. But at this point, he is still in win now mode, and Daytona might be his best shot. He might have one more chance, good chance for him to win and get locked into the playoffs. And I think that's why they also did come with such good cars for him and Buescher. Is even Buescher, he's in that cut line spot, which is almost needs to be a win now spot, because whether it's any of these road courses coming up or Daytona, like I said, there's definitely going to be at least one or two new winners. I'd put money on it. I'm not a gambling man, but I'd probably put money on that if I was. My Atlanta second race review, last race of the year for Atlanta, I'll give it a 9.1 out of 10. Yeah, 9.1 out of 10 because 9 for it was really good, but 0.1 because it wasn't just knock your socks off, like generation changing race. It might be one of the lists I show my kids, but it's like 50 races, and it's not. It's somewhat a big deal, but it's probably not better than SVG winning the first Chicago race. You know what I mean? But Chicago street race, I think it'll be great again. Probably the last Chicago street race, which is kind of sad. Not last Chicago race. Chicagoland could possibly come back. But definitely Bowman. He'll be looking to not only continue his streak from last race, Atlanta, continue that kind of good. I think he got third. That good finish and continue from last year's win, and hopefully win this race. But SVG will also be coming for revenge. It's probably the last chance he'll get to win the race he won the first time. So, he'll be definitely down for, and I bet if I'm not a gambling man, but if I was, I'd probably put money on that it's going to rain sometime during the race. So, and that I think plays into SVG's favor again more than anyone. And you kind of saw that during the first race. The second race, he got wrecked, and it wasn't really his fault. So nothing you can do about that. So it was an unfair look, and he's probably one to win the race more than any other race this year. So, and he's also doing double duty. I thought it was other things to say, but he's doing double duty. He's doing the Red Bull reverse duo with Connor Zilic in the Xfinity Series, and that only helps these drivers because they get laps and laps and laps on track, and it's almost like the practice they should have that's just taken away from them. So he will, not that the cars translate at all, and he won't be able to put setup into setup, or cars set up to when the other car set up, but he will be able to get the track time to kind of get back up to speed even quicker than the other guys. So I look to see his qualifying lap to probably be on pole, and I look for SVG to be winning the Chicago straight race. That's I think that's pretty much all I have to say about the Atlanta race and Chicago preview. I hope you all enjoyed. Thank you. Bye.